All right, welcome. Today we are diving deep into one of the world's most unique and, let's be real, one of the most bizarre holiday traditions out there, coming straight out of Catalonia. So get ready because this is a festive story you are not going to forget.
No, seriously, just think about that for a second. No sleigh, no reindeer, no sneaking down the chimney. Instead, your presents come from a piece of wood that you've been feeding all month. Kind of strange, right? Well, in Catalonia, that's exactly what happens. This happy little guy is the Tió de Nadal, which just means Christmas log. But, he's way more famous for his other name, his functional nickname, the Caga Tió. And yeah, that literally means the pooping log. And trust me, it does exactly what you think it was. So to really get the whole pooping log thing, you first have to understand that Christmas in Catalonia is just a little different. While most of Spain is waiting for the three kings to show up in January with gifts, Catalans have a couple of extra characters in the mix that are very, very earthy. Okay, so you've got your usual suspects. There's Papa Noel, Santa Claus, who's gotten pretty popular over the years. Then you have the main event for most of Spain, Los Reyes Magos, the three kings, who bring the big gifts on January 6th. And then you've got our guy, the Tió de Nadal. He's in charge of the smaller, sweeter gifts right around Christmas time. He's not really a replacement for anyone, just a really cherished and super unique addition to the party.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty here, because the real magic is in how this all works. How in the world do you actually get presents from a piece of wood? Well, it's a whole month-long thing involving a lot of care, some feeding, and let's just call it some light encouragement. It all kicks off on December 8th. A log, usually with a great big smile painted on and wearing a traditional Catalan hat, is brought into the house. For the next couple of weeks, it's the kids' job to take care of it. They feed it every single night. Little scraps of food, nuts, orange peels, and they keep it all warm and cozy under a blanket. The goal? To fatten him up for the big day, and then on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, it's showtime. The kids grab sticks and, well, to get their gifts, they have to beat them out of the log. And get this, they do it while singing. There are a bunch of different versions of the song, but they all kind of have this same very direct message. This one here translates to, "Poop log, hazelnuts, and nougat. If you don't poo, we will hit you with a stick." You gotta love how charmingly blunt that is, right? So after a good song and a few whacks with a stick, the kids lift up the blanket, and there they are, the presents. Now, the Tió isn't delivering the latest video game console. Its gifts are small, things you can share, like candies and nougats, stuff for the whole family to enjoy right then and there. And the ritual has this genius built-in way to end it. The kids keep going in rounds until the Tió poops out something nobody wants, like a salty herring, which is the signal that, hey, the magic is over for this year. Now, I know it's easy to just write this off as a quirky, kind of silly tradition. But if you look a little closer, what if I told you this log is actually a direct link to ancient, pre-Christian beliefs? Beliefs about the winter solstice, about fertility, and the whole cycle of life itself. Way, way back, before it was about giving gifts, the Tió was a huge part of winter solstice rituals. A big log would be brought inside and burned in the fireplace to give warmth and light during the darkest part of the year, which symbolically drove away evil spirits. But the magic didn't stop there. In the Middle Ages, people would take its ashes and spread them on their fields and even in their beds to make sure they'd have a good harvest and a fertile year. The tradition was so important that it never really went away. It just got blended into the Christian calendar. And this gets right to the heart of its original purpose. The Tió was what you'd call a fertility surrogate. It was this powerful symbol of life from the forest brought into the home to be turned into heat, light, and this kind of generative power that would hopefully guarantee prosperity for the whole year. The pooping gifts thing, that's just a modern, super playful spin on this ancient act of providing abundance for the family. But wait, there's more. As if one scatological Christmas tradition wasn't enough, Catalonia has another one. It turns out the Tió isn't alone. He's got a tiny and, let's say, equally cheeky little buddy. Everybody, meet El Caganer. And yeah, his name literally means the pooper, and he's exactly what his name says he is. A small figurine, usually a peasant in traditional clothes, who is always shown squatting with his pants down in the middle of, fertilizing the earth. And just so we're clear, this is not some modern joke somebody came up with.
Nope. The Caganer has been a beloved, essential part of Catalan nativity scenes since at least the 18th century. Finding him hidden away somewhere in the scene is a favorite Christmas game for all the kids.
So this brings up the big question, right? Why is defecation such a big and, frankly, positive theme in Catalan Christmas folklore? What's the connection between the log that poops presents and the little peasant pooping in the nativity scene? This really helps break it down. See, the Tió de Nadal is an active player in the ritual. You have to feed him, you have to hit him to get the gifts, and in the old days, he was burned for warmth. The Caganer, though, he's a totally passive symbol. He's just there, in the background, quietly representing good luck and that natural cycle of fertilizing the earth to make sure you have a good harvest.
There are a bunch of different ideas about his deeper meaning. The most common one is just that. He's a symbol of good luck, of fertilizing the soil. But some people see him as a kind of leveling device, a funny reminder that everybody, no matter how rich or powerful, has to answer nature's call. Some scholars even think that this little touch of something grotesque doesn't mock the holy scene at all. It actually makes it more sacred by grounding it in real life. So, when you put it all together, these traditions might seem pretty funny on the surface, but they are so much more than a joke. They're deeply woven into the cultural identity of Catalonia, and they represent a worldview that really embraces the earthy and the real, even in the middle of the most sacred celebrations. And the tradition is totally alive and kicking. Today, you can find Caganers of just about anyone. Soccer stars, movie characters, politicians from all over the world, historical figures. It's become this playful kind of social commentary, a way to gently make fun of people and, bring everyone back down to earth. I just love this quote from the writer Joan Baril because it absolutely nails it. He says the Caganer adds a dose of reality. It turns the nativity from this sterile, perfect religious display into a living, breathing scene that reflects a real country with all its grit and humanity. So here's the bottom line, the most important thing to take away from all this. The pooping log and the pooping figurine are not just gags. They are these amazing, surviving echoes of ancient, earth-based beliefs. They're a celebration of fertility, of prosperity, and of the wonderful, messy reality of life itself, all blended seamlessly into a modern holiday. And that kind of leaves us with one last thought. From kissing under the mistletoe to decorating an evergreen tree, a lot of our own traditions have these similarly deep, often forgotten roots. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What ancient beliefs might be hiding in plain sight in your own holiday celebrations?